Welcome back, everyone.
AutoCAD 1 2D Drafting, Boston Architectural College. And in this video, we're going to continue making some sheets, some of our layout sheets to present our project, and we're going to be focusing on A3. So to do that, I'm going to go to the A2 Layout tab and select Create a Copy and go OK. And then we see that we have another tab created, and it has the same title as the A2, except there's a 2 after it. So I'm going to click on that and then right click and rename, and I'll change that name to A3-Prop Elev for proposed elevation. So this is my A3 layout. And then once that's done, I will go and double click on the sheet border and edit the attributes. So make sure I'm in paper space and double click. And the attribute editor pops up, and I'm going to change the A2 to A3. And then the name, the drawing title, to proposed elevations. And go OK. And there's our changes made to our sheet border. So now we just need to compose the sheet. So we have these two viewports that are showing the floor plans. I'm going to double click in on the first floor plan, and I'm going to use the zoom dynamic. Type in Z, enter D for dynamic, and it takes us out, shows us the entire drawing, and we have our window that is set to the same scale. So all I need to do is move that over the front elevation, kind of center it on it. No clicking with my mouse, just use the mouse to move it and then hit enter, and it will zoom in to the proper scale of 3/16 inch. And I'll do the same over on the right side, in the right viewport, which is the second floor plan. Double click, open the viewport, Z, enter, D, enter, move that window over the side elevation and then hit enter. And I'll go back into paper space. So now we just need to reconfigure the viewports. So I'm going to click on this first viewport, grab the grips and pull it up so that it's tighter to the actual elevation. We don't need that full height. And I can stretch it out a little bit to the side, but we don't have much room here. So now I think I'll move that whole thing up to the top and then go over to the side elevation and modify that viewport also by grabbing the grips and just stretching them in a little tighter on the height. And then they need to be quite a bit wider in order to show all of the notes and dimensions that we have there. So I got to pull that out quite a bit to the left and then to the right. So it looks like we may have to stack these elevations one on top of the other. So I'm going to get rid of, or actually just move. I'm just going to move these right off the page, right off the sheet, off to the side. And I'm going to delete this other elevation tag because we don't need that. And now I'm going to move the side elevation down as close as I can to the title block. And then let's move the front elevation over, kind of center it over the side elevation. And now we have room on the sides. We can click on that sheet border, on that viewport border, and grab the grips and pull that out so we can see all of the text and dimensions that are associated with that elevation. And we will need to do the same. Going to move the whole thing over to move both of them, move both viewports over to the left, because we're going to need to get some room beneath them in order to fit our title. So I'm going to move this title over and place it beneath the side elevation, and then move the other title block back to the front elevation, place it beneath it, and we just need to delete that extra little reference tag so they don't have something floating out there which will mess up our our zoom and our plot. So now let's move that up. This whole thing is just, eyeballing it, and we're composing the sheet, so we need to move and kind of rearrange things. And this is what the viewports allow us to do, that we can treat these almost as like pictures on a page, that we can kind of move them around as we need them. And then the titles we can move around also. So let's change this to A, and let's change the caption or the title to proposed front LEV. Go OK. And the same down here. Change this to B. This will be detail B or drawing B. And change the title to proposed side LEV. And go OK. The scale was correct. Remember, we copied that from the other layout, so that was correct. So let's go back and take a look at this. So this is A and B on A3. So just want to verify that, in fact, on A3 we've got the A as the front elevation and B as the side elevation, and that is true. We have that, so that's good. All right, let's do a little more stretching. Again, make sure we get all of the text information, dimensions on our, and once we go into paper space we can zoom in on that. But take note that if we switch to model and then do a zoom, we are zooming inside the viewport, so we're actually changing the scale of our view, and we need to go back and reset that to the 3/16 in order for it to present properly at 3/16. And in this case we would need to pan inside that viewport in order to get our view clear in that. So if you want to do the zoom in and out on the sheet, make sure that you're in paper space and not in model space when you're doing that. Another thing we can do is lock the viewport. So I'm going to select this viewport and then go down to my status bar here, and if we lock that viewport, now if I zoom in and out, even though I am in model, it does not change the scale of the viewport, but does the zooming essentially in paper space. So go back into paper, click on, select that viewport, and make sure that is also locked. So let's select it and go down here to the bar, the status bar, and click the little lock symbol, and now that viewport is safe. So if we do any quick zooming here, we're not going to accidentally change the view or the scale of our drawing. Okay, so let's go to our plot tab, go to our layout tab and click on the plot, do a preview, and let's see how we're doing. And things are looking pretty good. Again, we don't see the viewport borders. They are on def points. And so everything is, let's exit out of this though. I'm going to cancel out of that. And I think one of the things that I do want to do is move this maybe a little bit over to the right. I grab the viewport as well as the title block so that all moves together. And that looks a little better. It's okay if it's staggered a little bit. Hard to decide. You almost have to maybe even plot this a couple of times. I want to make sure it lines up over the side, so I'm going to select all of that and do a snap and a shift to acquire on the bottom and line that up. Now I'm going to just move this over a little bit to the right so it's centered a little more under that elevation. Again, this is just, page composition, moving things to make it look right. Let's go into plot. Let's go into preview. And I'm thinking that looks the way I want it. So let's right click on this and go run the plot command, and there the plot runs, saves our PDF to the folder, and there we have our PDF pretty quickly. And let's do a 100% fit page. And there we have our A3. So another sheet done.